What's up? December 10th, Tuesday, myself and Big Ev. Pick Central brought to you by DraftKings. The NFL season is rolling along and the contenders are separating from the pack. That is very true.
Very true.
One thing that hasn't changed this season, DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL, is the number one place to bet touchdowns. Fade to the corner of the end zone, running backs breaks through the line and gallop 60 yards to score. We don't care how they get them. We want to bet on touchdowns, and DraftKings is the place to do it. Ready to place your first bet? Try betting on something simple like a player to score a touchdown. Go to the DraftKings Sportsbook app and make your pick. Here's a reason for new customers to do a touchdown dance of their own. Bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if your bet wins. Score big with the DraftKings Sportsbook app, the number one place to bet touchdowns. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code PICKCENTRAL. That's code PICKCENTRAL for new customers to get $150 in bonus bets if your bet wins when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings. The crown is yours. All right, a few different ways we can go. I'll be perfectly honest, I was on a plane last night. The guy next to me, we didn't have live TV, watched Die Hard.
Okay.
Watched Die Hard. But the guy next to me, we had no empty seat we had a middle empty seat. The guy in the aisle had the game going. So I saw pieces of it as it was going. He also then put on a weird YouTube video in the third quarter. So there's patches that I don't have. But I caught the highlights, and then I caught different things. So the real story was the Bengals finally get a break on that.
Yeah, big time.
On that big-time punt. It makes you think, like, what would have happened if they got all these breaks this year?
Well, not a muffs punt, just one of the
weird, Leon Lett type
one of the just one of the craziest scenarios I've ever seen where, like, it's tie game 2020. Bengals are not only – it's not only where they didn't pick up the first down, they got hit with penalties. It's 4th and, like, 26, and they're punting the ball. It gets blocked. It gets blocked and bounces, like, forward. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it goes across the line of scrimmage. So once it does that, like, it's still like a free ball. Then a guy on Dallas tries to, like, pick it up like an idiot. He tries to run up and, like, it's bouncing towards him. He tries to kind of just, like, pick it up in his chest, and it kind of takes a weird hop where it goes left, and it skirts, like, it hits him kind of in, like, his shoulder and, like, skirts past him. And then Cincinnati just, like, grabs it, and all of a sudden it's their ball. It went from a 4th and 26 where they get their punt blocked. Like, even the emotions in that, like, 3-second window, not even like 2 seconds of it going from being blocked to all of a sudden the Bengals are recovering the ball at like midfield with a first down after a 4th and 26.
Unbelievable.
Just insane, just all-time stupid bonehead play in the NFL. It like shocks you that you can reach that level of football, like the pinnacle of your profession, and still just be so dumb at the same time. It's shocking. But no, they needed to break it. Honestly, the story of the day is just like, or to me, just watching it, the Burrow and Chase combo is just so elite. Like,
really fucking filthy.
And even Burrow, and it's crazy how much yards they put up and all that. Even Burrow, like, missed a few. And I thought he played a good game. He just missed a couple that I thought could have, then I'm thinking back, there was one where they set up for a field goal that he had him, or maybe they even punted, where he had, like, Chase ran a great route, like, right, had stopped in the corner. He just kind of sailed him. But I mean,
what did he have last night? 177?
14 for 177
Jesus
and
Christ.
2 touchdowns. And the last one, so I don't know what your bets were or anything on it.
No, we had a parlay that started at 35-1 and ended at 95-1. We had Sample and Shoemaker.
Okay.
Sample and Shoemaker.
Okay. I had the Bengals minus 4.5. So
yeah, that
the
catch
touchdown
was huge.
But it was a weird scenario where he hits him and you see the Chase like beat the guy and there's just no one there. Like, you know, he's going to score if he wants to. And there was that moment of like, oh my God, is he going to score? Is he going to lay down? But I think actually is a good conversation. Like, I think you'll like this. It was kind of unique, the situation though, because there was like a minute, like I think like a minute and change, and Dallas had all 3 timeouts. So it actually was kind of a unique, like, do you score? Like, would the right play have even been to not score?
No.
I actually think the right play was to score, because they asked about that after the game, and it was funny. He just was like, I wanted to score.
Yeah, I think the right.
I actually think he should have scored, because if you lay down and just knee it, like you couldn't have run the clock out. If they had no timeouts, then the right play probably would have been to take a knee at like the 1 yard line, whatever. But I think it was the right play to score because they had 3 timeouts, because there was over a minute, so you couldn't if you ran the ball 3 times, burn 3 timeouts, they're going to get the ball back down 3 with like 40 seconds left. You know what I mean? Like they would have plenty of time to hit 2 plays and kick, and they have a kicker that is good from like 65 and in. So I actually thought it was a good debate, but I think it was clear he should have scored. Even though there was a weird moment in it where you're like, oh, like should he have scored?
Folks in the Rumble chat are asking, what do you think about Lisa Simpson scoring the game-winning touchdown?
That's, listen, I get like marketing partnerships and different things like that, and you want to get kids into the game, but like, do kids even watch The Simpsons?
Apparently they were watching this broadcast, or maybe, I don't know if they were. I think
sick.
They were.
Yeah, I thought it was cool.
Okay. I thought
You just pulled a meek.
I thought it was bizarre. I don't know. It's a weird.
I think it's weird too. But if kids like I'm in no position. Like if kids like it, then by all means, like let's bring them. Football.
I mean, they do the right thing. They're like that Nickelodeon slime time thing. They're doing highlights. They're trying to get kids into the game. Like
it's all about if it's working well with the kids, then like it's all good.
Yeah.
I'm not their demographic.
You want to get them into it early too, especially that's how you grow your age. But I mean, the Bengals. If the Bengals got, did anybody see that graphic? If one-score games changed completely, every one-score game went the other way.
Yeah,
the Chiefs would be 2-11.
Yeah,
and the Bengals would be 11-2 or something like that. It's they would have got they would have got breaks, and they would have. That's all they needed was a couple more bounces because they're still in the hunt. It's a fucking long climb. I don't think they're making the playoffs.
I think they'd have to win out and get help. Like even winning out,
massive amounts of help. Like Denver. What was the game Denver won? Tight. Was that the Monday Night Football game?
What
did Denver has won one recently that I felt like they could have lost.
The Cleveland game.
Yeah. That's the one. Yes.
And that didn't even end up as a 1-score game.
Oh yeah.
It technically ended up as 9
right.
because
but it was
it was one of the dirtiest non-Browns covers of all time.
But no, I think the Broncos have won too many games. I think the Chargers have won too many games. I don't see anybody slipping out of that spot.
Well, the Broncos are at
that's
8
how
wins.
I feel.
Yeah. I don't think that the Bengals just can't do it. They're also still
they would need
chasing Miami, which is crazy. Like
they would need the Chargers or Denver to like implode, and
way too many teams
and them to win every single game, and even then it still would be close.
Way too many teams in the mix.
I mean, you talk about the 1-score games. Bengals, I can just feel like I can count so many that, like the Chiefs game, they lost by 1 where they were winning. Both Ravens, but the first Ravens game, they were up 10 with the ball in the 4th quarter and somehow lost the game. And in overtime, had a field goal to win the game, missed it. Like it just feels like they've had so many that they just let slip away. I'm trying to think even some other ones they had. I mean, even that first game they played like shit, but like losing the Patriots week 1. You're thinking about that one now. It just feels like almost every game they lost. Like they never really got out. The only game they really got, like I know in the second half they got blown out against Philly. But Chargers game, they had a million opportunities and just couldn't. Oh, that was the kicker missed 2 field goals. Like that killed them. If they even just had like 1 or 2 of these go their way, like they're firmly in the mix and dangerous.
Yeah, that's the best combo though in the league though, right? It's Chase and Burrow.
I think so by far. I mean, they're just dominant. Like what they do, like Chase is truly incredible.
He's got some other weapons around him. I know Dave had Higgins for a TD last night. He was sweating.
Yeah, tough.
I thought
Higgins he didn't even look like at Higgins.
He had the one in the end zone.
Yeah,
like that was kind of close, not really, but
Chase is just such a matchup nightmare. Like they just get these matchups and you just know like he's throwing him the ball. He's just open every time. He's always open, and he's so complete too. Like he can go get the jump ball. Like he'll take a slant and take it to the house. Like even last night you see like he makes like on a hitch route stops the guy, like makes a move and beats him, and all of a sudden he's just the fastest guy on the field. He's just gonna score.
It's ridiculous. Yeah, I don't know. The Bengals, I think like you look future of the Bengals, I think they'll always be in the mix. But it's weird because it's like they already got to that Super Bowl. It's one of those you worry like, can you get back? You know,
you don't want this to become where Joe Burrow becomes like almost Dan Marino.
Right. Drew Brees.
It's super early.
Yeah, always in the mix.
It's
or
super
Phillip
early
Rivers,
to say that from him. Like he's still really young, so you don't want to like put that energy on him. But if the Bengals don't get the defense righted, like the ship righted on that, he's gonna end up being this guy where he's the 5th quarterback to put up the level of numbers he's putting up. The other 4 won MVP. And we're like number 1 seeds in the playoff. Like he's going to be the only one that not only does win MVP, but is just going to be like teetering on 500 if they even go on a run in this stretch. Like it's just I'm just a Burrow fan, but it's just sad for me to just see like a guy playing at the level he's playing at and they're just not winning, and it's just not his fault. They just can't stop a nosebleed. I mean, even last night, like they're letting that offense like move the ball on them. Like the Cowboys are running at will with like a makeshift offensive line.
I also think
Dowdle, who's like a fine player, but he's whatever.
There's been a little bit of fight from the Cowboys for the past couple of weeks.
There has because
give them credit
because they got like Parsons back. Parsons also he like crashed the fuck out last night. I hate the Cowboys when I think I almost felt bad for him. On the sideline, that the face, I don't know if you saw the clip.
No, I didn't.
He made this face and this almost. If there's a way we could potentially pull that up, he made this face in his hands. You could just see this helpless feeling where he just is like he just couldn't believe what he's seeing. He's like, how the fuck do we get it? We get the stop, we block the punt. And then they get the fucking ball.
Exactly.
Like it's 4th and 26. We block the punt, and then they get a fucking first down.
That's just a nightmare.
And then it was not only it was that, and then him walking off the field after they lost. You could tell just a dude who just was like, almost like not Jack Sawyering, but almost like he just was just like could not just despondent. Like,
what else you want me to do?
Just
really?
couldn't believe like how we managed to lose this game. And he's showing out. He's getting sacks. There's like a video of it. He truly is just like, what is happening? Like, how did this happen?
I got a couple of yes or no's. I think that covers last night. Really, it's
I was gonna say Skip Bayless is kind of cooking Micah Parsons. So he's like, I'm putting out a missing Parsons alert.
But he made plays last night, though.
He was saying it's like podcast him, Micah, podcast him.
That's funny. His own guys.
It's like digging in his bag of tricks.
I got a couple of yes or no's. Rams. Yes or no? The Rams will beat out Washington for the wild card spot. So here's the schedule.
They're 7-6, and what? They're 8-5.
Yeah,
we got 8-5, 7-6. Yeah, this is a good. Yeah, see, this is where I like schedules, Bosco. This is a schedule.
All right, Washington at the Saints.
Okay.
Eagles, Falcons at Dallas.
Okay, that's their 4.
Rams at San Fran, at Jets, Cards, Seattle. So the Rams would have to get really hot.
Rams is tougher.
And I don't know how the tiebreaker is if they tie. But
hold on, say what are the last 2 for the Rams?
Cards and Seahawks.
So the only thing with the Rams is the Rams have multiple paths. Like the Rams could steal that wild card from them, but they also could win the division. Whereas the Commanders, I think, really with the Eagles the way they're playing.
The Eagles are home, and
I'm saying the Commanders. I don't think they have no shot to win the division.
No,
the Commanders. I'm saying like they
Commanders are playing for a wild card.
They have to just hold this wild card spot where the Rams kind of could. They have a shot at both, especially with them playing Seattle last week.
Yeah.
Like, they're only 1 game back of Seattle. And the fact that they have 3 division games to end 3 of the last 4 in division.
Crazy.
Like, they hold all their cards right now.
Going to San Fran, I think you got to beat San Fran to start it. That's the way you got to go.
But you saw San Fran, that's Thursday night.
Yeah.
That's in 2 days. And you saw San Fran obviously just had a big bounce-back performance against a Bears team that I know was, like, bad and unraveling, but not a bad defense, though.
No.
And just went and scored on them at will.
Will the Steelers edge the Bills for the 2 seed? I think this one's a long shot. Steelers go at Eagles, at Ravens, Chiefs, and Bengals.
And also to answer the question, I think the Rams make the playoffs. That's my like.
You think they can catch? Yeah.
I think they can do either. Like I think that's why I think laying out they have 2 ways is like important because I really think they have a path for both. But yeah, I think the Rams as long as nothing happens to Kupp or Stafford, they find a way to get in.
Buffalo is at Detroit, Pats, Jets, at Pats. So I think the Bills are kind of custom here for the 2 seed.
Say it one more time.
Bills are at Detroit, Pats, Jets, at Pats.
Detroit, Pats, Jets, Pats. Okay,
I think Pittsburgh's schedule is brutal.
So really just 1 game and then 2 cupcakes and like a Jets.
Pittsburgh's schedule is brutal.
They should win.
Pittsburgh's brutal. That's 4 games of a run.
What's Pittsburgh?
At Eagles, at Ravens, Chiefs, and Bengals.
Yeah, it's hard to not say that. I mean, that's such a more difficult.
But then I'll
put it like this: the Bills going 3-1 or better almost feels like a lock.
Yeah. No, definitely 3-1.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. It feels like they should almost like sleepwalk to 3-1. Where if the Steelers went like 1-3, it wouldn't even be that crazy.
But this is where it gets a little interesting. So they've only played once.
And I wouldn't even fault the Steelers. I still think the Steelers are good.
Who can win the AFC North?
I think it's probably this. The only.
I would place a bet right now on Baltimore. Baltimore goes
they
at
just
Giants.
They play them.
At Giants, Steelers, at Texans, Browns.
They could go 4-0.
Pittsburgh goes obviously at Eagles, at Baltimore, Chiefs, Bengals. I think Baltimore's going to win that division. What are the odds for that?
So the only thing is, what's the tiebreaker? Because the Steelers already beat the Ravens once. Obviously, in this scenario, it would be a split. They'd be a split, but what would be the tiebreaker if they split and have the same record?
I don't know, but I think it goes to maybe
that would favor that would factor in the odds.
If it goes to division first, I don't know, but if it goes to AFC, Pittsburgh would take 2 losses with Baltimore and Chiefs potentially down the run here. You know what I mean?
No, they could easily go like 1-3 in that stretch.
Yeah.
I don't think they will, but I'm saying they could.
I think they go 0-4 the way the Bengals offense is still around. I know they lit up the Bengals, but that game could be a shootout.
Sure, for sure. Yeah, I mean, I think the Bills are probably going to get it, but yeah, I get the 2 seed. But no, I would. The Ravens are definitely worth a look. I would just need to know like what that tiebreaker is if they both say go 11-6 or whatever. You know what I mean? If they both go 11-6 or whatever 12-5, what is that like? What does it look like if they're this split and it's the same record?
Yeah,
because I feel like that's pretty much if the Bengals can just beat the Steelers, that's so live. It all comes out of that game.
What are those odds, Dukes? Let me see if I can pull those up. Ravens to win the North.
Let me see what we got. Because that tiebreaker is really. I mean, that's the whole thing. That's all it is. Let's see what we got here.
Division winner. I'll pull it up right now. AFC North. Pittsburgh -210. Baltimore +140. Ooh.
Well, because I guess they're throwing in
there must be some kind of tiebreaker that favors the Steelers.
Yeah, I would. Well, I mean, but they're 2 games up right now. That's what it is.
Yeah, and they could lose 4 in a row.
They could, but they could.
Yeah.
But think about it. Like if they just beat the Steelers.
All right, well, look at it this way.
But you got to think about the Steelers. If they just beat the Ravens, like it's over.
Yeah, but if you're thinking the opposite side and you're a Ravens backer here, they're 2 games back. If they lose to the Eagles, Pittsburgh loses to the Eagles, and Baltimore beats the Giants, which they're gonna. Now you're 1 game back.
Yeah.
They win in the head-to-head, you're tied. So now we're going into the last 2 weeks, and the Pittsburgh still has the Chiefs. And the Ravens go at the Texans and Browns.
No, sure, but I
think the Ravens can win this thing outright without the tiebreaker.
No, they could, but there's also like a very likely scenario. Like you got to play the other side where there's a very likely scenario where in 2 weeks it's just over, and like the Steelers just locked it up. Because the Steelers could beat the Eagles. Like if the Steelers beat the Eagles and then they just beat the Ravens, like obviously it's like canon.
Eagles look good though,
over.
man. Eagles look.
They do,
good.
but the Steelers look good.
Yeah, they do, but for some reason I feel like this.
I'm not saying I'm not even calling like my pick in the game. I'm just saying those are 2 like of the top 6 teams in the NFL, 7 teams in the NFL. So I mean that could go either way. And then you just have you have the huge game between them, and just the winner of that kind of does everything, or does most of the work. They did just beat them.
Yeah, the game in Baltimore would change things. The game being at Baltimore would change things.
I believe that this last one was just in Pittsburgh. I'm pretty sure.
Right. Yeah, because this next one's coming up is at Baltimore.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, so it's in Baltimore, so that definitely changes things a little bit. I don't know. The Ravens are just kind of like a fascinating team this year, because when they're good, like you're like, oh my god, like who's beating this team? But then they just have these weird performances.
It's been their MO for like the last 3 or 4 years. I feel like they're just let people hang around.
But even this year, I feel like they've been a little. You're right, but I feel like this year they've been even a little less consistent against like the. I don't know, even that like early in the year, still like them losing that game to the Raiders and losing that first game to Jameis and the Browns. Like they just had some like just head scratching loss when you look back and you're like, the 2-10, like the 2-10 Raiders beat this team. And then like the 3-9 or whatever Browns beat this team. You're just like, how did this happen? But they just fucking, I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah,
there's a weird team. I don't know what to think of them this year. I think especially after the egg they laid in the game last year, the NFC Championship game, I almost feel like people don't believe in them the same way. Like I think people are now fully on the like, oh, like they're fun, like Lamar's good, but they don't just believe in them really in the playoffs. Like I think it's like this crash course of Bills Chiefs.
Is there anybody you would take a future on in the Super Bowl, or anybody that looks like spicy? One of these teams. Like I think the NFC is.
To me, it would be
it's very simple. Like it's Packers as the sleeper.
To me, it'd be the Steelers.
Okay.
Like just that defense is so good that you could convince me that they could come in one game and like just pitch a shutout, or not a shutout, but like just go in there, just dominate. And then the Steelers, like with Wilson, I think have done enough. If they could, like, if they go, they're the team that I could see going to Kansas City and making an ugly game, and like who knows, like they just
Kansas City loves
they end up pulling one off.
games.
Like it's funny, me and Hobbs were talking about it yesterday, where it's like the Chiefs, they're just so inevitable in these like close games. I'm almost kind of arguing against my point yesterday because I think the Chiefs will just kind of like find a way, they always do. But it's just almost like they have to eventually like drop one of these games. And I guess you could say they did a few years ago against the Bengals. Like that, they were up big. They lose that game in the AFC title game. But it does feel like they're due to just have one slip through their fingers. But at the same time, if Mahomes just gets the ball with a chance to tie or win,
anytime he's late,
he's just going to do it. He does it every time.
You're talking about pass. I mean, this one's a little bit deeper, but like I like the Vikings. I think the Vikings are good. And I saw somebody tweeted us saying, wait, you guys are going to suck off the Packers again with not respecting the Vikings? They tagged me and you.
So I did. So I said it because I had Hubs in yesterday.
It's like, relax.
And I said it yesterday. I said that they're starting, like the Vikings are starting to like get me like buying like back into them a little bit. My only thing is when it comes to crunch time and they have to go play like one of these teams, like do I trust Sam Darnold? Like, listen, Darnold played great this last weekend. Unbelievable game. I just don't know if he can do that like a few games in a row in the playoffs.
The bright lights on.
And the way it is, like with the Lions being the number 1 seed, they're going to be on the road the whole time,
right?
And they're used to playing in the dome. Like, I just picture them, for example, if they have to go to like Philly, like that's a disaster. Like I think that goes disastrously for them. Truly, like I think they get boat raced in Philly.
That was the pet. I was kind of looking on the flip side, like. The Bucs are fucking pesky. If the Bucs can beat the Vikings, they already beat the Lions. They're the only team beat the Lions.
They did beat the Lions, and they played them decently well.
They beat the Eagles too.
They did beat the Eagles.
The Bucs beat the Lions and the Eagles
early.
Yes.
They were both really early in the year, but yes.
Wow.
Bucs have a loaded roster. You know what else is loaded?
What's that? Game time. Let me do game time first. Because I'm using.
They're both loaded.
Both loaded. Let me pull up game time. I'm using game time tonight. Game time is focused on the togetherness of the holiday season, of this holiday season. When you bring people together at live events, that experience is that much better, and it's the perfect gift. You know how much we love Game Time now with their brand new Game Time Picks feature. They're making it even easier to get to a game. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. I was looking at tickets for Jimmy V tonight. I already have my tickets, but if you're looking at it, you can sit on the baseline risers, $94. It's a double header tonight. So it's 2 games. Divide that by 2. You're really paying $47 a ticket when you look at the games. $94 on the baseline riser. It's a beautiful view. Look at that view right on Game Time. Watch it develop. Shit. Yeah, it's unbelievable. $94. Go take your people to Jimmy V. It's around Christmas time. It's a beautiful time. Just pull up the chosen event and turn on the GT Picks setting at the top of the screen, or browse the best local Game Time Picks deals near you on the Game Time app homepage. What are you waiting for? I'm going to buy those Jimmy V tickets tonight, now with Game Time Picks. Take out the guesswork of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app and create an account and use code PICKS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code PICKS for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. What time is it? Game Time. We also have Omaha Steaks, the perfect gift for the holiday season. Ed, why don't you tell them about Omaha Steaks?
I'll say shout out Omaha Steaks. Listen, I've talked about it before. I love getting that white box that comes in with all the meats. Nothing delivers comfort and joy quite like the unrivaled quality and taste of Omaha Steaks. It's guaranteed perfection every single bite, and right now you can save on unforgettable gifts with 50% off site-wide at omahasteaks.com. Plus, score an extra $30 off with promo code PICKS, PICKS, promo code PICKS. Make sure to use that at checkout. With 5 generations of experience, they consistently deliver the world's best steak experience, and gifting experts at Omaha Steaks have made it easy to deliver the perfect gift with thoughtfully curated gift packages featuring gourmet favorites. Like I said, legendary steaks, burgers, everything from legendary steaks to mouth-watering desserts and more. Save 50% off site-wide for a limited time at omahasteaks.com. Plus, our listeners, Pick Central listeners, the best, the GOATs, get an extra $30 off with promo code PICKS. That's PICKS. That's 50% off Omaha Steaks, OMAHA Steaks.com, and an extra $30 off promo code PICKS. Minimum purchase may apply. Love getting that big white box. I get steaks, burgers for years. The steaks are fucking phenomenal. And I apologize if you don't want me to curse, but I just couldn't help myself.
Speaking of the Steelers, Mike Tomlin, Ian Rappaport, tells reporters that George Pickens' hamstring could theoretically play this week, but he's best described as doubtful. The hamstring is a bit worse than it appeared. Jerry says that sucks. That's a big weapon. He's been clicking with Wilson.
He's been huge.
Yeah.
He's their game breaker on the outside.
Yes.
They don't have he's the guy.
And he was quiet early in the year. Jerry was taking him every week to score a touchdown. I was like, "Where's Pickens? What's going on with Pickens?" He really exploded late with Wilson.
Well, Wilson just throws Wilson just has more of a confidence. He throws a better deep ball than Fields does. And Fields actually does throw a pretty good deep ball. But Wilson, that's always been his specialties. Throw like that, put some air on that deep ball. No, they've connected well. It definitely was. I've said it for he's such a game breaker when he's I don't think he's still. I think he's starting to a little bit now, but I don't think he gets the credit he deserves when it comes to talent wise, pound for pound. He's up there with anybody, just natural talent.
College football playoff. This is kind of, I feel like with the tournament, NCAA tournament, we get it on Sunday night, and then we only have to break it down for 3 days, and it starts. Those 3 days take a long time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very, I don't want to say apprehensive, but, it sucks we have it for 2 weeks,
Yeah.
But I guess it's good because you could change your opinion 5 different ways and, be excited about it. But which way, have you locked anything in? Have you looked at, we'll break down each game to a degree, or, early looks, I want to say.
So I haven't locked anything in, but I did look at I have the spreads and stuff.
Notre Dame minus 7.5 against Indiana the Friday night game.
Yeah,
Are you surprised Notre Dame got the Friday night game? I'm very surprised.
No,
Notre Dame got the Friday night game. Very surprised.
I thought there was. I knew they'd either get Friday night or Saturday night. I knew they'd get one of the night spots. So I'm not that surprised. I once I see that Tennessee and Ohio State's the Saturday night, I get it because in theory I think that's what people think will be the most
SEC, yeah.
And I think people think it's the best color matchup, jersey matchup. And really, I think the biggest part of it is it's probably going to be the most competitive game. At least people think that on paper.
It's 8.
And I tend to agree. It's the same line as Notre Dame, Indiana.
What's interesting is these are big spreads for these quarters.
They're all
play-ins.
They're all a touchdown or more.
All big spreads.
They're all a touchdown or more.
Yeah. So Notre Dame minus 7.5, total 50.5 against Indiana. I've seen a couple of comments or people being like Notre Dame's going to throttle Indiana. I don't know which way I lean with this. I really don't.
I think I'm going to lean more Indiana here.
Okay.
And I just think, listen, Notre Dame, I know people have called me Notre Dame hater, and I am. I hate Notre Dame. But my honest opinion is there's 2 things. I think people are starting to really drink this Notre Dame Kool-Aid of this team's for real national title team, and maybe they are. And I think especially with Carson Beck probably missing the playoff, I think that even furthers their path because that's who the winner would play next. But when I look at I feel like people are not taking into consideration how easy of a road they've had post losing to Northern Illinois. Service Academy teams, Virginia. USC was literally inside the 30, inside the 20 even, I think, to win the game and then throw a pick 6. And that kind of flipped on its head where they were in an absolute dogfight with a mediocre USC team.
State Penn was in a dogfight with USC too as well.
They were way earlier in the year, though.
Earlier.
But no, for sure. Actually, they were down big to 1.5 and came back and won. But I don't know. This Notre Dame team, I just feel kind of I think they're good. I don't know how good they are. I think they're physical. They play good defense. They run the ball well. Jeremiah Love's a freak of nature, absolute stud. But then I look at Indiana, and it's I think you still almost don't know what to do with them yet. Which you said, Ohio State will tell us everything. They got shellacked by Ohio State. But now I think almost people are so down on them because of that, where it's people don't think they're, like you said, people think they're just going to roll into Notre Dame and just get dominated. And I don't know if that's the case. Listen, will they learn their lessons from what Ohio State did to them, where Ohio State just totally overwhelmed them, just sent the house. They had nothing for it. But Ohio State's also an elite front 4, front 7. And Notre Dame's is really good. I don't know if it's as good as Ohio State's. I guess on this day right now, I kind of lean more Indiana.
But I think this is the game I'm the most disconnected with in terms of the spread. I just don't have an opinion either way. I don't have an opinion on the total. I don't know which way it's going to go. I probably think, I don't know, Friday night, I could see Notre Dame. I could see this being an under. With the way I would lean.
That's what I was going to say. I would lean more under, too. I could see this being like a 24-17.
Notre Dame's defense shows up, yeah.
But yeah, I'll lean Indiana right now with the points. But the thing I saw that concerned me with pretty much all the lines is everyone's jumping on the dogs, which when that happens,
Dogs with fleas.
Might be a lot of might be a lot of blowouts.
Chris Felica says dog with fleas. You don't want to be the guy with the dog with take the dog with fleas.
No.
The trendy dog.
But Indiana of the dogs, Indiana might be the one I would like the most.
State Penn -9 hosting SMU total 53.5
now.
8.5
on DraftKings.
Okay, it was this morning. It was 9.
I kind of like Penn State.
I kind of like the over.
Yeah, I like the over too.
I think State Penn gives up the defense. I think SMU is going to score. I think maybe State Penn kind of can like have their way with them and keep scoring. Franklin's going to kind of run it up. I like the over here a lot.
Yeah, I like the over too.
Yeah,
I like the over. That makes sense to me because I agree. SMU is kind of an over, especially I think when they play a good team like this, they'll be an overs team where I think their offense is legit. I think they can score.
Very good. And what's crazy is coming into the year, Preston Stone was the guy, and they switched quarterbacks early. They switched to quarterbacks with this kid all year.
Well, Jennings played Stone got hurt at the end of last year. Jennings played the last basic game and a half. He won them the conference championship game. He played and played well. And they were playing Stone earlier in the year. Stone looked horrible.
He did look bad in that first week.
And then Jennings, when they played, he looked better. And then they just went with Jennings, and I think it's clearly been the right decision. He's just a better player. The offense is better with him. I like the over a lot too. I would probably lean right now. I'd even probably lean Penn State because I think their defense. It's funny because obviously we just saw they get torched by Oregon, but Oregon's a little different scenario. They're in a dome. This is going to be so funny where Penn State's been complaining all year about getting all these noon games. Here's a noon game. Yep. Here's a playoff noon game.
Unbelievable.
But it's so funny. But when you look at the matchups, they should be the noon game. Right. You know what I mean? Just the way this is probably the matchup you're least excited for.
Yeah, I think SMU probably doesn't hold that candle.
I think they could cover. Yeah, well, I like the over.
No, I like the over. I think if you're looking for an environment, and I hate the place, but if you're looking for aesthetics, turning that game on and watching all these fucking sycophants on Friday night would have been crazy at State Penn.
For sure.
That would have been crazy at State Penn. Give them the Friday night game, move Notre Dame back to Saturday.
But Notre Dame's just they're going to get a night game. You're not
wise. You're right.
In Indiana, Notre Dame's it's literally an in-state ride. It's a game that you never get played. It's a true this is a once in a lifetime. They're never going to schedule this game. You know what I mean? This is the only time you're going to get we get a state championship game.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yes, I'd probably play the over on that one. Texas -11 playing Clemson, I should say. Yeah, Texas hosting -11 hosting Clemson.
Yep.
I wrote them down reverse. Total 51.5. Candy with me for this one. I might look like an idiot. I kind of like Clemson plus the points. And when it initially came out, which we'll touch on next, or after we do these 4 games, in terms of the way the bracket broke, save this for a bigger picture. I like Texas to draw.
I do too.
I like Texas.
They did get a good draw.
The
fact that
we can do it now. Let's do it now in terms of
because we're on the last. We'll go to Ohio State after. The fact that they get to play Clemson as 11-point favorites, so they just handle business. They get Arizona State. And then if you handle Arizona State, you're basically getting one of Tennessee. You're going to play in the Final Four, one of Tennessee, Ohio State, or Oregon after they've just all played each other. You know what I mean? Where say if things hold, say just favorites hold, Ohio State wins, then you're potentially getting what a lot of people think is maybe 2 of the best teams or the 2 best teams. You're getting one of them eliminated, and then you're just basically in the Final Four playing Oregon with being or Ohio State with being double-digit favorites in both your first 2 games. And now you basically, if you win this game, you're going to be the favorite national title game.
Yeah, I will say this. As much shit as the bracket got for Boise and Arizona State being 3 and 4, if everything holds to a degree, right, you're going to get Notre Dame or you're going to get either Georgia, Notre Dame, or State Penn in the Final Four. Georgia or Notre Dame versus State Penn in the Final Four.
Yeah.
Right? And then you're probably going to get Texas versus Oregon. So at that point, if we were only having a 4-team playoff, wouldn't those be 4 of the teams you would have in? Take your pick, all 5.
For sure, but even the crazy
the way it's all shaking out, we're getting a true Final Four.
But even the crazy thing with Oregon, you're just putting Oregon in, and listen, even an Ohio State guy, that's fine.
Okay, you could put
but I'm saying you even got to think about it just from on
I'm just saying who's been
who's
been the 4 best teams all year.
No, but I'm saying think about it even from that standpoint. If Ohio State beats Tennessee, Ohio State on a neutral field is going to be a pick 'em.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. Where that's just crazy to think they were the number 1 team all year and they're going to find themselves in their first playoff game. If Ohio State wins, they're going to legitimately be -1, maybe if that even. Like Ohio State might even be favored, which is like the craziest thing. But I mean, Ohio State was favored by 3 on the road. And I'm sure that number would have come down a little bit with the way things have shaken out, but they're still going to value Ohio State on paper like very highly.
Whose draw did when it jumped out? Obviously,
Penn State's is the easiest.
Penn's everyone says is whatever, but I'm not going to be the big fan of that. But yeah, I mean they did get a draw. Although
no, they easily got the best draw.
I mean, listen, maybe I'm just a simpleton, or maybe I love the blue turf. But Brad talked about State Penn's defense like not being that vaunted. Like they can run all over you. What if Genty just goes berserk?
But that game wouldn't be in Boise.
No, I know that. But I'm saying more.
I'm
saying more. Yeah, because I love the blue turf in general. That's why I'm a Boise guy.
Gotcha.
But Genty just runs all over them.
Yeah,
he can make it ugly. He can definitely make it.
Yeah,
ugly.
maybe. I don't know. I just don't see it. I mean, maybe. Obviously, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. But I don't know. It's going to be such a big line. Like maybe I don't know. I just don't think they could beat.
Yeah, I mean it's going to be like 14, probably 11.
I know. All I know is Ohio State when they were talking about it. Ohio State on like I think it was essentially in Columbus, it would have been like 19 or 20.
Yeah.
So Penn State is only going to be a few like so if it's a neutral against Penn State, it's going to be at least like 13, 14.
Notre Dame have a shot against Georgia?
Yeah, I think they do, especially with Beck out. I think with Beck out,
Beck came back. What's the word?
But he handed the ball off. He literally literally can't move his arm. They're saying he probably doesn't need Tommy John.
Really?
I
didn't see that report. I must have been.
It's UCLA. UCL. It's pretty much like I don't think it's like confirmed. Like they're trying to see what they can do, but it sounds like it's a very similar injury to the one that Purdy got a couple years ago in the NFC title game. Or remember when like Kittle came up to him and he's like, I literally can't move my arm. Like, and you saw when he walked. Did you see when he came on the field? It's literally dangling.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe they made him hand it off. Like, you don't have another kid on the team that could just hand the ball off.
Third quarterback. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Like
Harry 3.
But I'm saying you knew they were running it. Like just like this.
That is actually interesting. You're right. It was dangling.
I was just talking to somebody about it outside. I was like, why the fuck would they put him in just to hand the ball off? Like everyone knows if he goes back in, you're handing off regardless. Just put in the third. Like the third string kid can't take a snap under center and hand the ball off.
They must have had fumble problems.
Maybe
that is interesting. Put the fucking.
I just didn't. I just couldn't understand why they would put him back in to hand off.
Bizarre.
And and the Stockton kid,
he can run. I liked what I saw a little bit out of him.
He wasn't awful. They're obviously they're much better. It's funny because they obviously take the ball to start the second half. They go right down and score, and you're like, oh my god, like are they better with him?
He could definitely run.
But then you kind of saw him the next few drives, and they literally like couldn't move the ball again.
Passing yards were not a lot
until overtime. So they are like clearly they're better with Beck, but I don't know. But also I think it helps them too that they'll have 3-4 weeks to like game plan and know like you're starting, like you're getting all the first team reps. But he's like banged up, or like he might have like a concussion or something.
Took a fucking lick.
So that's why I think. Listen, the game they have a bye too, so the game won't be for 3 weeks post the hit. So I think he'll be okay by then. But I wonder how much it hurts him where like him getting all the reps, like him, you know what I mean? Getting those like first team reps for like 3 weeks really can help.
So does that make you like Notre Dame's draw?
I don't hate Notre Dame's draw. I don't think they got.
You're gonna be playing a backup quarterback for Georgia. Like if you were Notre Dame, that's all you can ask for.
I didn't like it for them
by
until
Indiana, and that's all you can ask for.
No, Beck getting hurt changed it. Like I think Beck, a healthy Beck, they didn't get a great draw considering the draws that like Texas and Penn, obviously what Penn State got. But that was another big point of conversation. Like Notre Dame had no business jumping Penn State or Texas because they lose a conference title game. Like I don't think Notre Dame has enough reward
wins.
them.
Notre Dame doesn't have enough wins to hang their hat on.
That's what I'm saying.
Texas A&M had what, 4 losses?
Yes, and that's their best. That's their best win.
Yeah,
their best win. Now you could argue if that Texas' best win, but Texas also played an SEC title game and they played a tougher schedule than Notre Dame did. You just can't reward Notre Dame for not playing conference title game. It's just not fair. To me, that's not fair. I was very glad the committee handled it the way they did, where they put respect on earning the conference title bid and did not like hurt them for losing it. Because I don't think it's fair that you get to like earn that spot in the title game and then just if you lose it, you fall behind a team who didn't play because they were not good enough. Or like Notre Dame where they're just cowards and they just don't play in a conference.
Right.
Like if you want your money, you can't have your cake and eat it too. You don't get to like have all your NBC money and then not play in a conference and then also like bitch when you don't get the seed you want. when other teams like went out there and put out on the line and you sat at home like a bitch. And I'm just talking shit about Notre Dame.
No, I think
Ohio State was home too
fair.
because we fucking blew it. But
State Penn's got a great draw with Boise. Texas has a great draw. I just think Texas has a great draw.
They do. They got a
walked
very
to
good
the
draw.
Final Four.
And-
Now Texas will, like they made the Final Four last year, made the playoff last year, but Texas can Texas at certain points. Like
I mean, no, they're a team that they haven't really they haven't really beaten anyone that good.
right. It's a weaker conference.
Yeah.
Oh, I shouldn't say that. I'm still thinking.
yes,
I blacked
yeah.
out. I blacked out Big 12 still for a second. It's gonna take me.
They got a very good SEC.
They got an
draw.
SEC draw. They got a good SEC.
The one good team they played from the SEC, like they lost.
Maybe that's why I blacked out because they didn't have to play all the great teams.
They
in
didn't.
The SEC.
They only played
Georgia and they lost.
That was
twice.
it, and then played Georgia again, lost
Yeah.
again.
Ohio State, Tennessee. We can break that down. Ohio State minus 7.5, total 47.5. Kind of like the over.
It's interesting. The only thing is, it's wet. Going to be very. I'm curious to see them Tennessee boys come up to the cold on December 21st, play a game in Columbus at night, so it's going to be extra cold.
Yeah.
I think it's more under. I think especially because Tennessee's front four is their strength. We know Ohio State's they lost two like all conference type starters at left tackle and center. That really, I mean, I feel so bad for Seth McLaughlin. He's like getting nominated for like all these like the Remington Award of like best center and all this. He's like was one of the best centers in the country. Gets hurt in fucking practice. Without them, I feel like that's going to be a strength for Tennessee is their D line against our O line. So I think it's more of an under game because I think a strength for us will be like our defense against them, against their offense. Their strength is a running game. Like we're the best run defense team in the country. So I'm kind of curious to see how that shakes out. I think it's going to be more low scoring, and especially with the weather, especially if it's like a 20-degree night in Columbus. I think it's more like an Ohio State, like I don't know, like 24 to. That's another like 24, like 13.
Yep.
Like something like that.
Yeah, Tennessee's offense
27.
It's not got it going when it matters.
27-21. Like if they can keep it within the number.
So you would say Oregon walking out of this bracket, you think Oregon got the worst draw? I kind of agree.
Not the worst draw. I think that they'll have to play. See, it's tough because like you.
Ohio State and Texas back to back is pretty tough. That's pretty tough as a one.
For sure, but I think it's more just if they. It's the argument of them and Georgia because Georgia, like, obviously they can play Notre Dame. It's like, what do you think is tougher, like Ohio State or Tennessee or Notre Dame? But I guess it's more the fact, yeah, you could say that because they have to play Texas after if they win. Whereas even if Notre Dame or Georgia, like if Georgia wins, they'd play the winner of like Penn State and Boise after, which is like obviously much easier. So yeah, I mean, I do think they got fucked as the 1 seed. Like the whole point of the regular season is you have the most dominant regular season. You're supposed to get like the easiest path. That's like the point. So the fact that they're not getting the easiest path is kind of fucked. They're going to make the changes. This was the guinea pig year. I think the thought of the conference winners getting a bye was like cute in theory. Like it sounded good out loud. But then once you see it unfold and just how big of a gap there is in the SEC and Big 10 to the ACC and Big 12, then it just can't be a thing anymore.
And I was a big proponent of give them the buys. I was the biggest guy. Give them the buys. The conferences should have 1, 2, 3, 4. Nope. I've raised my hand. That's a mistake.
No, I was someone who I didn't mind it either. You just see the gap, like it's just not. They're playing like just their. You see like a team like you in Georgia where like it ends up working out for them. They make it, but like their schedule compared to like one of these other teams in these other conferences, even in their own conference, some of them, it's just like it's such a discrepancy. They got to play like 4 top 10 teams, where you have a team like these other teams like Indiana, for example, even in the Big 10, they play 1, they lose by 20. Or even, I mean, like at Arizona State, they play none. You know what I mean? Like they didn't play a single top like 15 team all year, really. Yeah, like Boise, like they played Oregon, they played them close, and that's what's really kept them so high. Like if they lose that game by 3 touchdowns, I think they're the 12.
Yeah, I mean UNLV is going to be a ranked win, but that's like, yeah, what's give me Boise's wins. That's what I need to see.
Washington State. And UNLV twice.
Yeah.
Those are their.
But then, yeah, the rest of them.
Those are their good wins. That's it. I mean, they play in the Mountain West.
So Boise's not on here. I can't pull up their schedule. Yeah, that's it. That's really
they beat UNLV twice, and they beat Washington State. The best thing they did in their schedule was lose to Oregon by like 3 or whatever it was.
Because they show they can hang with it. I mean, or theoretically can hang with anybody, but
Yeah, they lost them close in Eugene. That was the best game they had. Like that was their only loss, and it was the best resume builder they had.
The interesting thing to me is Dillingham getting a week to prepare. I think he's a great coach. Do you see them having any kind of success with Texas? The fact they get an extra week to prepare.
It's fast. I think that's the part of the playoff that's gonna make it so like, especially if they can hang, it'll make it awesome. Like we're gonna find out. Like I don't know. It's tough because Tennessee's like, I think Tennessee will be more physical, but then I see the way Arizona State down the stretch has been like not only winning, but some of these games like just dominating, like beating the shit out of Iowa State the way they did. It's interesting to see like if they go play their best game, like could they go give Texas a run? And there's part of it that's like if they go play their best, like maybe they can.
Yeah.
Maybe they can go give them a run.
I just think that jumped out to me. Like Dillingham's going to get an extra week to prepare. That's a little interesting.
But Sarkisian's a great coach, so I think
He's definitely really
or even Dabo if they were somehow able to pull it off against Texas. Like you're talking about two guys with like some serious had coached big games, had these big moments. Like Texas Sark is really good, and just I think he'll have a good game plan regardless of Dillingham having an extra week or not. Well, really, Dillingham has an extra few weeks.
Yeah, you're right.
Because he's prepared. Obviously, he's going to prepare for both, but I think you're probably slightly more prepared for Texas. But you're going to prepare for both. Where like Texas, they got to prepare their ass off for Clemson, and then the second if they win that game, then they go into Arizona State.
Yeah.
Like they can't even think about Arizona State right now.
No, I agree.
Rico, the chat wants to know, how do you feel about Juan Soto signing with the Mets?
Feel excellent. Yeah, I
talk
just
about it.
I figured you talked about it yesterday.
It's a shame
right?
the Mets fans were all cowards didn't come in yesterday. It's a shame.
We were filming.
Cowardly.
It's a shame.
We were filming. How are we cowards?
Weren't here. I didn't see.
Yeah,
it.
fair enough. I was filming in New Orleans. Yeah, I think it's a great signing. You know what I mean? But I worry now. It's with this great responsibility comes great pressure. Like now it's interesting. We've never been the team that's supposed to be in the World Series. This is where it gets interesting as a Met fan of like, has the script flipped? Where you guys, the Yankees, it was forever. We have to get to the World Series. We have to get to the World Series. I'm like now a little anxious about that pressure. There's no more like you can have a nice season.
No,
we're loaded.
No, doesn't exist.
Lindor and Soto and potentially Alonso and Vientos is a core of a lineup that's unbelievable. You're competing with the Dodgers. You're supposed to get to the NLCS with the Dodgers every year or Philly. You're in that war zone. That's the other thing too. Like those teams are good. Could they rip your heart out in a playoff series and you don't get there? What are we doing with pitching? I still think we need some more. But
we're gonna get more.
It's a great signing. It's a great signing.
I mean,
it's a shift in powers in terms of like New York to a degree right now for a little bit.
Yeah, I mean the player going from he was in the World Series with the Yankees and signs with the Mets a month later is unprecedented. I mean, I want the pressure. I think if you want to go toe-to-toe with the Dodgers, you need stars like Juan Soto in your lineup. And
yeah, we saw it last year. The Dodgers were just star, caliber. They were
the
just
Mets
loaded.
aren't even at the first tax line yet. Like they're gonna spend like another $80 to $100 million. Like we're not even close to done yet. And did you see the report that the Yankees wouldn't give him a family suite because Jeter and Judge didn't had to pay for theirs?
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like that honestly probably was kind of like one of the big kickers in the deal.
Really?
Which is crazy. Basically, Judge pays for his suite. Jeter paid for his. They thought it would set a bad precedent that like, which I think you just get negotiations where, listen, there wasn't a bidding war for Judge the same way there was for Soto. Like,
right.
I think that's something you got to.
I also think you got.
I think the fact that they allowed, because the fact that he was able to, like, we matched the money essentally. Like, listen,
yes,
I know it was $5 million. It was like an extra year, but that's it's so much money where, like, if it took another $5 million to get there, like we already came up to $760. Like you're gonna get. The Yankees would have done what they needed to make it like a yes, but also me and Hub's going to talk about yesterday, and listen, Cohen's pockets are unlimited. If they came and said 800, Cohen would say 820. You know what I mean? Like it would just kept going up and up.
It was never ending with Cohen.
Like I think they got to the point where like it was the Mets had their number, the Yankees. The report was that they were at like 712. They came up to 760. That was kind of like their final. Like, hey, this is like we're basically matching. It was one extra year, and yeah, it sounded like this family suite thing was where Cohen said no problem, like family suite done. There were these weird reports early in the season, like which that really came out more now, about like a security guard basically like booting Soto's like family or like his like chef and whoever like from some like area, which like
Someone said it's like a Seinfeld episode where George is the employee that kicked the family out.
yeah, it honestly does sound like it. To me, I think it would be more about the suite thing than it would be about that specifically. Because the suite sounds like that to me, like I could see where if I'm in his shoes, because the suite's a lot of money, and it's more just like the fact that you're basically making City feel like a true home for him.
Yeah, but the
You're
thing
saying your family's like every home game for life essentially, or as long as you play for the Mets, like your family's got a suite here, like they can come to any game, anytime, comfortable, taken care of, food, drinks, everything. Just I don't know. There's that was weird to me. Like I feel like if that was the difference maker, I don't know how Hal doesn't just say, hey, like you want a suite, like you got it.
if it was just
I
Jeter,
get the Judge precedent and the Jeter precedent.
no, the Jeter precedent that was.
It was a long time ago.
Long time ago. So you could be like, hey, you know what? Things change. And if Jeter comes back and he's like, how could you let him do that and let me do it? You're like, listen, things change, bro. You want us to win?
You never got a $750 million contract.
The tough part is Judge being on the team. That's the tough. This guy's got to play with Judge, and one gets a suite and the other one doesn't. That's where it gets different.
I think if you really wanted Soto, you've just got to make that concession. Just be like, listen, if Judge is upset about that, listen, you're the captain. We made you captain.
Yeah.
Like you can, and like I said, there wasn't a bidding war the same way. Like it really was the Giants and the Yankees for Judge. Like this, there was a bunch of teams throwing serious money.
And players don't care about the Yankee prestige like they used to. The pinstripes don't care the same way that they used to. Free agents don't care about the '90s Yankees that they used to.
I don't know if that's fully true.
I mean, it seems pretty true to me.
On what grounds? Just this signing?
Otherwise, Juan Soto would have gave the Yankees a hometown discount for playing there only 1 year.
I mean, I wouldn't say it's a hometown discount. I think it was more just more.
He could have given him a $5 million discount. He chose not to.
What makes it a hometown discount?
It was literally like this.
Yeah,
it was like the same money.
I don't know about hometown. That's not a home. Pete Alonso could give a hometown discount.
Yeah, I mean the money. It was literally like the same contract. But no, it sounded like the suite was a big deal. And yeah, I mean the Yankees just got to pivot. We got to just kind of go after like. Talk about trading for Kyle Tucker. I think it's like a Bellinger type guy.
I see Christian Walker.
Yeah, Christian Walker.
Christian Walker can play.
Christian Walker, like Santander's, will definitely be an option. I guess the only way the Yankees, I don't really have a ton of confidence in Cashman, but the only way we can look at it is just like we got to spread this money out to a bunch of players and try to build the roster that way, and not just have two stars and like a kind of a weird like rest of your roster. Just have to have a more balanced lineup.
I'm very happy the Mets did their plan A because I hated all their plan B options. The Mets plan B wouldn't have been targeting like the Freeds or any ones with like qualifying offers attached. Our plan B would have been just like re-sign Alonso, go get Manaea back, and just run back most of the same team.
Oh, that's a
so I'm happy we
disaster.
went with our plan A.
That's a disaster.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, ours is definitely going to be like free. Like it's free. It sounds like either going to be a Yankee or a Red Sox.
Yeah.
And then yeah, it's going to be like trading for Kyle Tucker,
that's
Bellinger.
A Yankee Red Sox bidding war for Max Fried, like that could get to a number over 200, I think.
Yeah, it's possible. I definitely could see it getting there close at least. It probably will get. It's going to get at least I bet to like 170, 180. But yeah,
Let's end with this last piece before we get into picks quickly, because I don't know how much of a story. I think we can make more of a story tomorrow. Maybe we dive into it. But Belichick apparently is taking the UNC job.
yeah, it sounds like
No.
he is. What?
It's not. He agreed to it. He agreed to it with the conditions that UNC meets all his expectations.
Okay.
Like, so it's like they might not accept it.
UNC might not accept these terms.
Yeah. He agreed to it under his terms.
Okay, so he basically committed to like I will do it if they'll yeah. Okay, got it.
I think that he wants like a full-time like GM with like
Well,
a
yeah,
staff
he laid out
underneath.
this whole like this what they're calling this 400-page Bible of like plans from like just the way he wants to structure the program, the coaching staff he wants, how much money they're gonna need. Obviously the big thing is his son. He wants his son to be the coach in waiting, and that basically he'd do like 2-3 years, and then his son Steve Belichick would take over as the head coach. Kind of, I don't know, if I was his son, I'd feel kind of weird about it.
Yeah, I would too.
Like listen, your last name's already Belichick. Like, wouldn't you? I don't know. Just wouldn't you want to earn it kind of on your
He's
own?
already, that's the thing. Is like he's already earning it. Like he could probably get a job within 2 years if he wanted to.
You think he's a head job? Because
I would put Steve Belichick up there as like a top 5 defensive coach, college or pro right now.
I think that's quite a.
I don't know. He basically ran the Patriots defense for the past 3 years, and Gerard Mayo got way too much credit for that. You see what's happened now that he's left. Went to Washington. They're like a top 20 defense this year, in 1 year. I think there's a lot to be said about Steve Belichick.
Well, he was coaching. He was coaching he was coaching Washington college last year, right?
He's at the Huskies. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's a top 20 defense this year.
This year they're okay. Last year, credit. I mean, they obviously made the national title game.
Numbers wise, they're a top 20 defense.
I'm not saying he's a bad coach. I think top 5 defensive mind in the game of football was a stretch.
I mean, I thought
I know you're doing your Belichick shield.
I'm not. I don't know anything to Steve Belichick. It's not like.
But I'm saying a top 5 defensive coach in on planet Earth right now is pretty lofty.
I really don't think. I mean, the Patriots' defense for the past couple of years was a top 5 defense, and a lot of people that could go more to Bill Belichick. I think Steve does deserve some credit though.
I just think it's with him. If you're that close, just. Your dad coming essentially out of retirement, and not saying I think he did plan on coaching again, but coming out of retirement to coach this team with only the kicker that my son gets to take over, it just feels, I don't know, I would just feel weird if I was him.
It also might not be true.
Yeah.
It seemed like that was pretty a big part of it.
I don't know. I personally didn't believe that.
I don't. It makes sense. It definitely makes sense.
I think he's gonna want him as the DC. I think Patricia will come. I want to know.
I think that was part of. I think Patricia's on the staff. There was multiple other guys. I think it was McDaniel. What is it? McDaniel's son, maybe, or brother or something was on the staff. Someone in McDaniel's family was on the staff.
Yeah, he was with passing game coordinator for the Texans or some shit.
Yeah, no, he would be a part of it. They said. Historic levels of investment from the school include salary minimums, position willing to hire 2 staffs, coaching staff and a recruitment staff, hire a GM. You do kind of need a GM now, and I get from his standpoint where he doesn't want to do all the recruiting. He wants them to do the hard work of the recruiting, and then him kind of come in there to seal the deal, put your little.
Yeah, he ain't getting on the road. I don't think.
I'm sure he would for the right guy. You know what I mean? But he's not doing it for everyone.
Yeah, it's brutal.
And that would be if. Going from Mac Brown to Bill Belichick, what a coaching run by North Carolina.
I want to get younger.
He could recruit.
No. I think he could.
It would be so easy for him.
But I get what Box was saying.
He ain't getting on the road.
This guy's not getting on the road.
No.
Bill, I'm saying it's smart to have a staff where basically try to get them get someone else to sell the Bill Belichick dream, and then when they get to the goal line, you bring in Bill to close.
It's also smart to be I'm not going to fucking UNC if they're not going to give me resources to get top end talent.
100%.
The fact that he's laying out he's also sent this to other schools. He sent this to he has one for the pros. So the fact that he has this all laid out means that he has been thinking about this for a while.
For sure, no, and I don't fault him. I actually think it's the right way to go about it. Especially a coach his age. He's saying, listen, if you're only going to be half-assed, I'm not going to waste my time.
And again,
you need to be all in on my vision and the way I want to do this.
No disrespect to Mac Brown, but people trying to be oh my God, you went from Mac Brown to this. That's so disrespectful to
What's
Bill
UNC's
Belichick.
plan going to be in 6 years?
You're a dick.
Well, Mac Brown is a different situation with Mac Brown.
You're a dick.
He just was truly at the end of his road. Mac Brown's a legendary coach, but
right. I'm just saying disrespectful to Bill.
Yeah,
that's me sticking out.
Just them having 2 legendary old coaches back to back.
It's just you're going to sell a guy, just be I have direct contacts to the NFL.
That's what his whole thing is well, I want to run this a pro program, and I want to run this where I'm developing all these guys to play in the NFL essentially. I saw that was a big part of kind of his pitch. I want this to be straight an NFL feeder system.
There's only a couple coaches that I think this could work for, and one of them just retired.
Yeah. No, I would agree.
Picks tonight. I'm going to take Michigan -4. It's down to Jimmy V. I'll be in attendance. Going against Cal. I like the way Michigan's playing the 2 7-footers. Friend of the program, Dusty May. I'm going to take Michigan -4.
I did. I actually today little bounce back one, or not a bounce back, which kind of a fade off a big win. I like Rutgers today at home. They're playing Penn State. Penn State just had the big win over Purdue. Now they come on the road. Obviously, Rutgers been kind of a weird team. Obviously, just have 2 absolute studs on the team, but the rest of the roster hasn't been great. Yeah, like Rutgers. I'll ride with my guy 3-point sniper. Actually, he's going against you. I'm going to ride with him. I'm going to take Arkansas.
Really?
Yeah, those Rutgers, Arkansas were the big plays.
Yeah, Boogie Fland is a New York City kid. He's going to have 50 people in attendance. Cal shows up, I feel in the big games. But I like the way Michigan's.
It's at Arkansas, right? In their home gym or no?
No, it's fucking in Jimmy
it's
V.
here. It's here.
In Jimmy V.
Where is it played?
Garden.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah, it's tonight.
So you're going.
Going.
What's the early game?
Miami versus Tennessee.
Okay, it's 6:30. I saw that.
16.5.
I saw that.
Tennessee is going to
But
squish
the line,
them.
Bosco. The lines went down a few points. I saw it was 17. It's down like 14.5.
Okay, maybe.
So I
people are
don't know if
taking
the
but
big wigs are
Tennessee-
on Miami or.
Larinaga, I feel like in a big spot can like whatever, but like Tennessee could just squish you. Tennessee's playing like the number 1 team in the country.
No, Tennessee's really good.
Yeah.
Miami's just kind of like a weird team. Like with Larinaga, like he's just a good coach. Like they can always score. Like you always feel like they have the offense that can score a little bit. But yeah, I'll ride with my guy 3-point sniper. I'm on Rutgers, and I'm on Arkansas.
All right,
Arkansas plus 4.5. I got Rutgers -3.
Hughes and Phil, what do you got?
Where is it?
Brock Nelson, anytime goal scorer, plus 215, I believe.
Okay. Brock
North,
Nelson is a
North
hell of a name.
Carolina Central plus 26.5 against West Virginia. Penn State plus 3.5. I get the down spot. I still think Penn State's just better than Rutgers.
They're good, man. I don't blame you.
Yeah,
I don't
like,
blame you. This is for
you're
me.
giving me 3.5 points. Rutgers could still win this game.
Yeah, to me, it's just like it's such a classic like college basketball situational play.
Yeah.
But I don't blame you. You've been a Penn
I
State
agree
guy.
with you on the situation. It's just like if this was -1.5, wouldn't take it. Where I think it opened at 3.5.
Yeah, it did open
3.5 is too much for me. I'm going to take Penn State in that one. And then what was my last play? You know what's a weird one? I wanted to shout out. I'm not going to take it, but DePaul favorite over Providence tonight.
Paul's playing pretty good, right? Everybody's excited about what's going on at the Paul.
Providence.
I haven't won a Big East game in like forever.
Providence fan base, the Twitter circles. I was refreshing all Saturday afternoon. They're going out like they got a civil war in a way between the Kim English. First debate I've seen between Providence. Some are in on Kim English, some are out on Kim English.
Ah, wow. Okay.
Because I was saying what makes the PCBC so like
Because they all have one united front.
they were like when they really started coming together, it was like fuck Ed Cooley. Kim English is the greatest coach alive, and this is the first time that it's like,
oh no,
wait,
a little bit
shit.
of doubt.
Going off that game though, Rhode Island's really good. Rhode Island is very good. Archie Miller's back. Sebastian Thomas, their point guard, I think he's playing like one of the best point guards in the nation. They're playing Brown tonight. Spread's 4.5. I'm taking Brown plus 4.5.
Just because of the line?
No, Brown's sneaky good.
Okay.
Brown has an alum there that like they made it to the Ivy League championship last year. You're talking about a down spot game when we're talking about Penn State to Rutgers. I think Rhode Island, that was the biggest win that they've had in a couple of years against Providence. In-state rivalry, I don't think that they'll come with the same intensity. I'll take Brown plus 4.5.
All right. That is Pick Central. The Yak is up now. We will catch you tomorrow.